Now, welcome students to our lesson, number 4, where we are going to look at two topics, that is topic 7 and topic 8. So we start with topic 7, which is emotions in organizations. So we have to realize that an organization is an entity that comprises people. And therefore, these people, they have feelings. These people, they have they think, how they do things. And sometimes others may be high-tempered, others may be low-tempered, others may be very friendly, others may have different considerations when we refer to what we looked at, the individual differences. So what we are saying is that we want now to look at summary and keywords that come under emotions. So there has been an affective revolution that has been going on in many of our organizations in as far as behavior is concerned since 1990s, and this is focusing initially on moods and affective disposition. So the moods of workers, the moods of management, of bosses, and whatever. So the past decade has been a further shift toward investigating the complex roles played by discrete emotions in the workplace. So many scholars and who are psychological or the psychology scholars have been studying and have been trying to research to find out what really goes on in as far as emotions are concerned in workplace. So emotions have interpersonal, intrapersonal effects on the person experiencing them in terms of attention, motivation, creativity, information processing, that's mental processing, and judgment and well-being. So when it comes to judgment, you can give your judgment, which is more of an opinion, and it is subject to your emotion. Yes. So we are saying that the effects of emotions on behavior can be complex and context dependent rather than straightforwardly mechanistic. What we are trying to say here is you may find the way the organization behaves towards the workers also changes the behavior of the workers towards the organization. And therefore, what we see becomes a complex situation, and therefore we cannot just say these employees are this and that. No, they might be behaving in a certain way just because of the way the organization behaves towards them. So research has tended to focus on negative emotions, yes, like anger and anxiety at workplace, and their potential negative effects. So what we are saying is that when employees are angered or they have a lot of anxiety, they become aggressive and they try even to avoid to work. And this is a negative effect towards the organization. So what we are saying is that when employees have negative emotions in as far as their being in the organization is concerned, then they are likely to impact negatively towards the organization. And therefore, this particular organization may not be able to achieve its goals and objectives. So we're also saying that there may also be a case for intentional efforts by organizations and employees to increase the occurrence of positive emotions at work. Yes, the organization is working to see that the workers will have positive emotions. Even the workers themselves are also working hard to make sure that they have positive emotions, which will have impact positively to the performance of the organization. So for many years, emotions in the workplace were ignored, you can imagine, altogether, or were regarded as irrational. Yeah, you see, your boss sees you annoyed and feels it is about yourself. No, that could harm the organization, and that could affect negatively the organization. So we are also saying that hence they had no place in organizations that were thought to be the bastions of rationality. So nobody could ever think when you are angered or you are anxious, what they could conclude was that is negative and that is personal. But little did they know that whatever happens at individual level will affect the whole organization and bring about lack of success. So we are saying emotions have specific targets. One is angry about something or feels love for a particular person. And most emotions have action tendencies that orient individuals to operate on the target of the emotions. So this is all about like approach in the case of love. It's all about emotions. So what are emotions and how do they work? That is what we want to understand. So we are saying an emotion is an organized system of feelings, physiological responses to stimuli, bodily expressions, and actions, tendencies that flow from an almost instantaneous appraisal of a current situation's relevance to the individual. This is according to Sterrett in 2005. That's how he defines emotion. Yes. So we're saying emotions provide a readout of one's current state of affairs, such that positive emotions indicate that things are going well, and negative emotions indicate that there is a problematic situation. So emotions can tell us what is happening in the external environment and also can tell us what is happening within an individual. So we are saying that the functional approach to emotions holds that emotions evolve to serve adaptive purposes by interrupting ongoing activities, redirecting attention, and leading to a prioritization of goals so that the current problem can be addressed. So, like in the organization, if things are not good, you will see employees, their emotions are negative. And therefore, this is calling for attention. This is interrupting the ongoing situation in the organization so that the bosses, the employers, can now pay attention to these employees to find out what is it that they can do to help them. So we are saying that emotions also prepare and motivate a coordinated response to the problem. Yes, with different discrete emotions. So we are saying that emotions actually tend to prepare and motivate a coordinated response to a given situation. So emotions will always be responding to a given situation, whether it is good, dangerous, bad, and whatever. It is from the emotions that we can be able to tell what is happening in the external environment of an employee and within internally in this employee. Now, there is what we call valence. Now, when we are talking about valence, this is what we are actually saying. While emotions contain much more information than valence alone, positive or negative valence is the most fundamental differentiator between emotions. So we want to understand this. When we are talking about negative emotions have historically attracted considerably more of our research attention than positive one. Because you see, when you mention emotions, what comes in the mind of people is negativity. Yeah, they don't associate emotions with positivity. That's what we are trying to handle here. So, well, I was saying that negative states such as depression and stress and emotions such as anger and fear are highly relevant to individual mental health as well as to society and thus have been extensively studied by clinical and social psychologists. So psychologists are really looking at what is happening within a person that impact positively, negatively to the working place, and therefore finally to the productivity. So what we are saying is this: we are saying that only recently have psychologists turned substantial attention to positive emotions, but before they were not concerned about that, and therefore there was a misconception. So we are saying the various positive emotions have more similar appraisal structures and less distinctive physiological signature than the negative emotions, though some are empirically discriminable. I mean, we can test them empirically. No, we can research about them. So positive emotions signal that things are going well. Yes, things are doing what? Are going well. And when things are going well, does it mean that it's not calling for the attention of the bosses or whatever? No, it's calling for attention. Because when things are going well, then employees are working hard. Productivity is very high. And therefore, what do we expect from the employees? Appreciation. So let us look at emotions and behavior. Emotions and behavior. Because what is a behavior and what's an emotion? Which one affects the other? So we're saying that while emotions of both valences have action tendencies, they do not directly cause a specific behavior in a deterministic or hardwired process. So that's exactly what we're saying. So we are saying strong emotions may sometimes provoke impulsive action. Impulsive action. You are just like, I should do this. But often actions tendencies are moderated and responses chosen more carefully. So in a work context, Grant and Wissenbeck demonstrated that anticipated guilt and gratitude mediated the relationships between core self-evaluation and performance when it comes to employees at workplace. Let me remind you something. There is one person I respect a lot who had high level of emotion intelligence. Now, you remember the four caliphs. You remember the Abu Bakr, Umar, Osman, Ali. Those four. Now, let me take you to Umar. Umar has really shown as a leader during his time. Yeah, during his time, he had high level of emotion intelligence. Why am I saying this? As a leader, as a manager, if you don't have such, then you are not a leader. So during that time, Umar was now leading the religion. So many Muslims would go to him for piece of advice. One good example was there was one man, one man. He had a conflict with his wife. The wife was quarreling. The wife was unruly, full of negative emotions. So this man could not contain his wife. So this this man, came to the house of Umar, seeking mashaura. Mashaura means advice. So when he came, he reached the door. So before he knocked the door, he heard from inside, Umar's wife was quarreling at the highest pitch. Then this man was like, if where I'm going for mashaura, for advice, there is more fire than where I'm coming from, then let me just go back home. Because it's like Umar is in more problems than myself. So he started going back. But Umar had heard footsteps at his door. So he went and opened the door. He saw a man going. He said, Rajul, Tal. Yeah? Madonise, what do you want? And the man said, I have this problem with my wife, and when I came over to seek advice from you, I realized that you are in more problems than myself. Umar told this man, Ichilis, kursi, Ichilis, sit here. Are you looking at my wife? She's breastfeeding. This child belongs to both of us. She would have asked me to pay part of the milk that is being given to the child. So these women, they do a lot. They have a lot of things in their heads, and therefore most of the time their emotions tend to be more negative. But know how to handle them. Handle them, love them, appreciate them. Yeah? Because you see, yeah, we are told that men or husbands are supposed to love their wives, but wives are supposed to be to obey their husbands. Submissive, yes, let me use the word submissive. So, well, I'm saying, if you are a man, if you don't love your wife, don't blame her that she doesn't love you. Because naturally, women were not created to love men. But men are created to love women. But women are created to be submissive to men. Get me clear? If I'm wrong, correct me, because we are learning. Yeah, we are doing what? We are learning. So I'm saying that, yes. Okay. So I'm saying that that is all about, okay, that was an example I was trying to give to try to explain all about emotions. So why study emotions in organizations? Is it important for us to study emotions in organization? The answer is yes. How? How is it yes? Emotions are pervasive in work organizations, meaning they go opposite and going high. That is being pervasive. Something when it's going in the opposite direction, that is being pervasive. First, organizations are populated by people, and people cannot help having emotions about things that matter to them. Yes, people will respond to things affecting them differently in terms of their emotions. That's why it is very important for us to study emotions in organizations. So, organizations are achievement setting in which goal pursuit and professional identity often matter deeply. So, emotions follow. Yes. So organizations are also social settings in which individuals work with peers, bosses, subordinates, and customers, clients from external environment. Yes, well, I like this. And what are we trying to say here? We are trying to say that when you are working in an organization, you respond to things differently. The way you respond to your customers can make you retain these customers for your organization, or you chase them away just from the way you handle them. So that's why we are studying emotions. So what am I saying, Ola? I'm saying that these relationships can go well or poorly and matter to people. So again, emotions are experienced. Meaning we can acquire some emotions in terms of experience we have about what is happening within ourselves and outside ourselves. So finally, as pointed out by Hashka, Nasi, and Doris, 2017 in their book, they are saying, while emotions occur at the individual level and fluctuate within individuals over time, they also have relevance for higher levels of analysis in organization. So, Olalo, we are just trying to say that emotions are not constant. They change, they fluctuate over a period of time. So don't conclude that, oh, this person is of this behavior. No, maybe he had a negative emotion today, but tomorrow this person will have positive emotions. So they fluctuate in terms of types and in terms of magnitude. Yes. So we are saying at the organizational level, there may be a characteristic affecting climate that sets norms for the experience and expressions of positive or negative emotions in the organization. So we are saying what happens in the organizations can set the emotions of the employees, whether positive or negative. So affective events theory. So this is a theory that is looking at affective events. So Weiss and Kropper-Zahn, 1996, in their book, they are talking about affective events theory. And they are saying it draws attention to the real-time nature and causes of moods and emotions at work. So they shifted the focus from stable work environments features such as job design to the more immediate level of specific affective events such as an accomplishment, an incident of feedback, an interaction with another person, and also a goal blockage of some sort. Like when somebody blocks your goal at workplace, it generates negative emotions. Yes. So, like Weigel et al. Means and others, 2014, suggested that if there is a history of prior events in the workplace, each of which has evoked the same emotions, a schema is created and goes on incurring or recurring. Yes. So, effects of emotions in organizations. So, what we are saying that emotions have effects in as far as organization is concerned. Therefore, they affect the organization. So, saying that emotions clearly have hedonic relevance to the person experiencing them, both immediately and cumulatively in terms of health and well-being of the person. Because emotions will affect you, whether you like it or not, it will affect you. When you are negatively to things, you are pessimistic, you may not succeed in what you want to do. But when you remain optimistic, and therefore you are an optimist, even if the situation is difficult, you are always encouraged that you are going to make it. So we are saying that they also have impacts on individual behavior and interpersonal relationships. Yes, individual behavior, your behavior personally, and how you relate with other people. So it is often assumed that positive and negative emotions have symmetrical consequences, with positively valent emotions producing positive consequences and negatively valent emotions producing negative consequences. Yes, that is self-explanatory. Now let us look at emotions and decision making. Some of us, we are emotional, and therefore when you are so emotional and you are making a decision, you are likely to make a subjective decision, a biased decision, a decision just based on opinion and not and not and not and not being objective. Yeah. Okay. Just a minute. Just a minute. I'm coming on. We could have left it on. Yes, and so on. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay, well, I've come back. So I'm just saying the classic conflict theory of decision making by Janis and Mann in 1997 described. Sorry, just a minute, let me confirm something. Okay, electricity and internet is giving us a problem. Okay, let me continue. Yes, so I was saying that more recently, attention has turned to the way that specific emotions might influence decision making beyond simple valence or arousal effects. Yes. So What we are saying is that, like Lama and his friends reviewed the growing literature on discrete emotion in decision making and judgment and concluded that emotions constitute potent, pervasive, predictable, sometimes harmful, and sometimes beneficial drivers when it comes to decision making. When it comes to decision making. So emotions and sense making, making sense from situations. So we are saying sense making is the process by which individuals create meaning in the uncertain or ambiguous situations. Yes, often followed in organizations. So we are saying to make sense from something, you use your emotions because that thing is not clear to you. It's uncertain. It's ambiguous. It's not clear. So you can make sense by use of emotions. Maltese, Vogas, and Lawrence, 2013, suggested that emotion might play important roles at 3 stages in the sense making. Because making sense from something, even I'm now teaching, for you to make sense from what I'm teaching is a process within your mental processes. Yeah. So first, emotions may help in shared sense making, which occurs when there is a surprising or unexpected event or result that does not fit the current mental model, because your current mental model is fixed on what you already know. But what happens certainly is not within your mental capacity, and therefore it has to be processed. Second, emotion experienced during sense making may influence results by the kind of cognitive processing they trigger. Positive emotions often result in more flexible thinking, not rigid, flexible thinking, while negative emotions stimulate persistent and critical problem solving. Yes. Let us look at emotions and leadership. You are a leader. How does your emotions affect your leadership in an organization? So like we are saying, leadership represents an interpersonal relationship between the leader and individual followers, or between the leader and the group. Yes. So the way you relate, emotions will determine exactly. So, I'm saying that the relationship often has high importance for all parties. So it is not surprising that it is emotionally charged and that felt expressly emotions. So the importance of positive emotions in charismatic, transformational, and authentic leadership has long been appreciated. And the past decade has been an explosion of research on emotions in leadership and followership. Well, what am I trying to say here? I'm saying that positive emotions is good. It makes a leader to be a transformational leader. A transformational leader is a leader who transforms his subordinates. He helps them to be better. That is a transformational leader. Let us look at emotions and negotiation. To negotiate is like bargaining. Bayada in my Somali. Bayada, bargaining. No, you are negotiating. Like, okay, let me give you an example. Yesterday, our president went to Djibouti and he was meeting the president of South Central Somalia. So they were talking. You know, that is more of negotiating. You know, they are negotiating, they are talking. And you see, sometimes emotions play in such a situation. Yes, Ola. So I'm saying issues involve the emotions felt by the parties. Parties. Like yesterday, we were having two parties. Yeah. Yes, it's a very good example. Yes, including the expressions when and the impact on negotiating outcomes. So emotions impact negotiators, cognitions, and inferences about other parties' trustworthiness, motives, and willingness to make concession. Let me take you yesterday to Djibouti. You see, there are those who are bringing these two presidents together are looking for concessions, agreement, concessions. But you see, you look at the parties, is there trustworthiness? Is there positive motive? Is there willingness? That is it. So anger and happiness are frequently studied. Anger and happiness, they are components of emotions. So positive emotions have been relatively neglected in the negotiation before. The way emotion generally was, the way positive emotions, yes, I think this is being repeated, that many researchers concentrated on negative emotions and not positive emotions. Let us look at emotional labor. Emotional labor occurs when employees modify or suppress the emotions they feel in order to display the emotions mandated by the organization, often in a customer service setting. Like you have gone to some offices and you find the receptionist, and she says, "Welcome. How can I serve you?" "Yes, you are at our service." Are you sure that emotion is natural in that lady? If you follow that lady at home, you might find she's arrogant. But you see, by virtue of being a receptionist, and the organization behavior says that when you are a receptionist, when you are receiving people who are coming from outside, you must be humble. How are you? What is your name, sir? How can I help you? Something like that. But when you go to your house, you are fighting your wife or your wife is fighting you. But you see in Quran, we are told, man, you are not supposed to beat your wife. Don't. In my culture, we are told a woman is beaten by a piece of cloth. So it means that actually you are not supposed to beat your wife. So historically, historically, two responses to organizational display rules has been studied in the emotional labor literature. One is deep acting, which occurs when employees change how they feel. Yes. Yeah, how they feel. Because you have to change to behave like the organization. That's what it means. The second one is surface acting, meaning what we can see overtly. So in which employees do not change their underlying emotions. Because your underlying emotions are manifested from what we see outside the group. Yes. Discrete emotions in organizations. So we have seen that emotions are implicated in a wide range of organizational processes. Yes, so while anger and boredom in the workplace have been fairly well studied, a number of other discrete emotions have attracted less attention but have the potential to generate useful insights relevant to behavior. So what we are saying here is whether emotions are positive or negative, they are a source of information to the management. The management have to know something is going well or something is going wrong. And therefore, they have to make some changes. That's what we are saying. We're saying that positive relationships between positive, positive relationships between positive affect a desirable outcome, both life and what happens in the organization. So let us now look. Their discussion theorized about three emotions likely to be common and impactful at work. So they realized that during this study, they realized that there are three types of emotions that are exhibited by employees at workplace. And therefore, it is very important for us to study them in detail. There is pride, there is interest, and there is gratitude. So what is pride? Pride is a self-focused positive emotion triggered by appraisal of the self-success, status, and competence. You see, people who are proud, like if I'm having a PhD or a master's, you see, academically, I'm an academic giant. I walk majestically. I'm exhibiting pride. And this is self-assessment. I have assessed myself and I feel I'm a great person. Yes. So I will have that aspect of pride. So pride may be based on a private self-appraisal. Self-appraisal means self-assessment of performance or competence or on recognition or public praise from others. You see, when people say, Mohammed, you are a great person, you are very good, you are a good leader, you start feeling, you, Mohammed, you start feeling, yeah, because people are recognizing you and they are praising you. This is psychology. Hubristic pride. So under pride, there is what we call hubristic pride. Is pride in a stable attributes of the global self. I am a perfect person. No, you can say that I am a perfect person. And is correlated with narcissism, poor self-esteem, impulsiveness, aggression, and poor self-control. The other one is authentic pride, is based on specific personal achievements that are attributed to the internal, unstable, and controllable causes such as effort. So authentic pride is positively associated with self-esteem, self-control, intrinsic motivation, meaning motivation that is inside you. That is intrinsic motivation. Yes, so now. So pride provides a readout of the current state of goal, progress, or goal success, as well as motivating future adaptive behavior. So pride also serves social purposes. The physical display of pride is easily recognizable by observers. Why? Because this is expressed as an upright and expanded posture with the head tilted slightly backward, like that. Yeah? And a low intensity smile and hands on hips or up in the air. No hips. When you see somebody standing like that, that person has the physical aspect of the pride. It shows the confidence in the person. Yeah. So individuals seem to understand that excessive display of pride may alienate others or create envy, and therefore they regulate its display. So we are being told that pride is good, but when you show it excessively, it makes other workers to start envying you, to start feeling bad about you, and now they'll call you a proud man. Proud, when in the actual sense, it's just pride. You know, pride is not proud as such, but when pride is excessively displayed, then it ends in being proud, and most of the time you end up failing. That's why there is a mahama. a proverb which says, pride goes before a fall. When you start feeling so like that, you will fail. That's what it means. So we are saying that organizations may attempt to build employee pride by individual recognition as well as collective celebrations. So at workplace, when Mona has done a good work, the manager, production manager will come and say, tell others, look, come, Tal, look, Mona has done a very good work. And Mona, inside herself, she started feeling like that. And you know, others will copy fast. But you see, when the manager continues praising Mona every time, others will start feeling envious of Mona. Interest. Zawad, 1991, described the subjective experience of interest as the feeling of being engaged. You know, when you are interested in something, you get engaged into that thing, caught up or fascinated or curious, meaning wanting to investigate, becoming involved, or expanding the sense of by incorporating new information. So the action tendency of interest is to approach and engage. Yes. So in the workplace, interest is implicit, it's not explicit in research or intrinsic motivation and flow steps. So the absorption dimension of work engagement and job design. So explicitly, we are saying stable individual interests have been extensively studied in the vocational choice context and are now receiving renewed research attention. So interest may be facilitated by job design, the intellectual stimulation, dimensions, and others. Gratitude. Gratitude occurs when one appreciates help received from another. When you say Mahadsanik, when you say thank you, when you say Shukran Jazilan, that is gratitude. That is a gratitude. Yeah, appreciating. It is rarely, it is rarely studied in the workplace, but is beginning to attract some attention. So saying that at a higher level, persistent gratitude is the stable tendency of a person to experience gratitude. Finally, at the highest level, collective gratitude occurs at the organizational level where, when feeling and expressing gratitude become part of a shared affective culture. You see, when they give you as employees, you are given bonus. You say Mahadsanit, you appreciate. That's gratitude. And that appreciation makes you to work harder. Then there is what we call meta-analysis, has shown that gratitude is positively related to prosocial behavior, particularly toward the individual to whom one feels grateful. When you feel grateful to someone, when you feel grateful to your lecturer, to your boss, you say thank you. You say thank you a lot. So it seems likely that gratitude expressions at work would encourage social bonds. You bond socially and increase satisfaction with the supervisor and co-workers. Hence, it will enhance perceptions of psychological safety and increase the likelihood of future pro-social behavior by both the giver and the receiver. Now, let us look at these terminologies: affection, love, admiration, respect, and compassionate. Affection. What is affection? So we're saying most workplaces are intensely social, featuring vertical and horizontal relationships with other employees as well as relationships with customer and suppliers. And affection, yes. Positive social emotions experienced in connection with this relationship deserve more attention. So 2 studies highlighted the important role of companionate love in the workplace, defined as feeling and displaying affection. Affection means liking or loving, affection. Caring for another person, being compassionate to the other person, and tenderness and what have you. So even at workplace, you would feel compassionate towards your co-worker or your boss or your subordinate. So a strong culture of companionate love helped buffer the effects of job and personal stressors on outcomes. The aspect of compassion, it creates a buffer zone that absorbs stress that you might have. So, while most of the research on positive social emotions at work considers relatively stable relationships, leader-member exchange, workplace friendship, network, and mentoring, it is possible that more fleeting interpersonal affective events that generate short-term positive emotions are also important in creating longer-term well-being. There is very little research on feeling respect or admiration towards others, or on feelings respected or admired by others. Like you students, you are studying in many faculties, but when it will come for your thesis, you find none of you are going in to study all this. So these are areas that have not been fully studied by researchers. Yes. Admiration seems a useful, probably common, but almost entirely neglected positive emotion in the workplace. Admiration. You admire how the best worker is doing his or her work, and therefore you would want to do the same. Yeah. Admiring doesn't mean it is being jealous. No. You are just saying, walai, mashallah, not walai, mashallah, good work, shako wanaksan, mashallah. Yeah. That's all. That's admiration. Oh, today you are very smart. Meaning, I admire your new suit. Guilt. Guilt is a moral emotion felt when one becomes aware of having violated important social norms. Meaning, when you do something wrong, when your boss comes, you feel guilty because you know what? You have done something wrong. In some, drawing attention to falling short of a social norm seems to be an effective way through the emotion of guilt to motivate employees to lift their game. Yes. Contempt. It is a social emotion involving distancing expressions of superiority, condensation, disapproval, and exclusion that may be communicated verbally or by demeaning expression. You see, when somebody is doing something wrong and say, I don't want to associate myself with Khalid. Khalid is a thief. Well, a thief is a person who has a long hand. We say Khalid has a long hand. Gaanta ufadita. Gaanta ufadita, long hand. That is being a thief. And when somebody is a thief, you will not want to associate that person. No, you can't do that. You will condemn that person. So that's contempt. Anger. Anger is a basic emotion. It is a common response to intentional mistreatment, injustice, goal blockage, or misbehavior by another person or entity. So if somebody blocks you from where you want to go, or your manager doesn't want you to be promoted, what will be your emotional response? Anger. If you get him, you give him one, or you say, well, you know, so something like that. So we are saying that a recent study of daily fluctuations in workplaces, anger is always shown. So positive outcomes seem mostly likely when the anger is perceptible but below the impropriety threshold, meaning when anger is very low, then that's okay. There's boredom. Boredom is when you lose interest in something. Yes. So boredom is the aversive experience of having an unfulfilled desire to be engaged in a satisfying activity. Like you are attending to my lecture now. If you realize you are not enjoying it, it's not taking you anywhere, you become bored. So we are saying bored employees may distract themselves with the non-task related thoughts, horseplay, gossip, cyber, offing, and what have you. So when you are bored, you start sheko. You become shinbiri sheko. Yeah. Though in my culture they used to say ragina washa dumari washeko. But nowadays I see men, they are shekoring a lot, talk a lot. They talk a lot. So you can see that mahama. That mahama doesn't hold, or that saying doesn't hold. Yeah. And that was belittling women. Like just say that men should sit somewhere and drink tea while women are shekoring, are gossiping, as if it is only women who gossip. No, even men gossip. And well, at workplace, when you start gossiping, you forget about the work, the tasks that you have been given. That's what we are learning here. Envy, jealousy, and certain fraud. Envy arises when another possesses or receives something one wants but does not have. For example, I wanted promotion to be the manager, and they have promoted Musa. Well, I will become envious because I wanted to be promoted and I'm not promoted if somebody else was being promoted. What about jealousy? Jealousy is felt when a second party may try to take away something the first party has, usually a relationship with the third party. Now, if the executive director has promoted Khalid to be the supervisor and me, I've remained just a worker, do you know what I will do? I will go to this executive director and I'll start telling him bad things about Khalid so that Khalid can be demoted. That is being jealous. Now, Schadenfreude is the positive emotion or feeling of pleasure in response to another's misfortune, failure, or suffering. Voila. Do you know we have some employees, when they see the work you are given to do, when you do it very wrong, you do it badly, they are happy. That's what we are being told here. So at workplace, don't think when you have done something wrong, your fellow workers, they will feel sorry for you. No, they will know you will be warned, you will be sacked, you will be thrown away, so they will be happy. So this Schadenfreude is the positive emotion. You feel happy that your friend has done something wrong. Emotion expression and regulation. So we are saying one party's emotional display induces a more systematic inferences process in the observable and a series of other happenings. So this was a very good, to me, it's a good topic. It teaches us a lot about, and when we are at workplace, this aspect of emotions. Because positive or negative emotions, they impact positively and negatively to the work that we are given at workplace. And you can see how they affect even our ability, our enthusiasm, our motivation to deliver. So, Olalo, I'm giving you 5 minutes to 10. Please go and pray, then you come back and we continue with the topic, the next topic. Yes. Okay, welcome students to topic 8, where we are going to look at leadership. Leadership is important at workplace because at workplace we can have a manager who is a leader and the manager who is not a leader, as we saw before. But now we want to understand this aspect of leadership in at workplace, which is very, very important. Very, very important. Yeah. So, yes, leadership is the ability to guide others without force into a direction or decision that leaves them still feeling empowered and accomplished. So the task of the leader is to get his people from where they are to where they have not been. So if you don't have the ability to influence others into a given direction, then you don't qualify to be a leader. You don't. So let us look at 5 leadership skills found in managers. 5 leadership skills found in managers. So this is what we expect to see. Okay, we may not have all 5 in one manager, but you see there is a combination. So communication. One of the most important skills of a leader is the ability to communicate effectively. Now, to communicate effectively, it means communicate exactly the message so that the workers will understand what you want them to do. Number 2, awareness. Be aware of what is happening. Don't say, I didn't know. In English, we say, ignorance has no defense. So don't say, I don't know. You are supposed to be aware. Be aware of what is happening. Be knowledgeable. Honesty and integrity. Be a person we can rely on, and we can rely on what you are saying. Then relationship building. As a manager, you are supposed to be somebody who builds good relationship between you and the customers, you and the project implementation team. Innovation. You have to be a manager who is innovative. Come up with the new ideas. Don't just continue doing things the same way they were done 10 years ago. No. Then be developmental. Be developmental. So qualities of a good leader. The most important qualities of a good leader include integrity, yes, accountability, empathy, humility, resilient, vision, influence, and positivity. Let me explain them one after the other. Integrity is being a respectful person. Accountability, it means you are answerable to your boss, you are answerable to your subordinates. That's being accountable. Empathy. Empathy is a feeling where if somebody complains that is feeling sick, you feel like that person. That's being empathetic. Humility, being respectful to others. Resilient, being hard. Yes. Vision, being a person who is looking for where you are going. Influence, that is the characteristic of a leader. You influence others. Positivity, all the time, even if the situation is not good, is negative, remain positive. Tell your workers, let us work, we shall succeed, we shall succeed, we shall succeed. Don't tell them, I am not sure if we shall do it. Let us look at leadership styles. There's the first one, autocratic style. The phrase most illustrative of an autocratic leadership style is do as I say. This is more of dictatorial. Yeah. Number two, authoritative style. The authoritative leadership style is the mark of confident leaders who map the way and set expectations while engaging and energizing followers. You are authoritative. You set the objectives, the goals, but you energize, you engage your workers to that direction. Number three, pace-setting time. A leader who sets the pace. Pace is the speed of doing something. So this style describes a very driven leader who sets the pace as in racing. You set the speed, yeah? When they are working, you come and do one product and they see your speed and they will follow your speed. So you are a pace-setting leader. 4, democratic style. Such leaders, they seek, or managers, they seek employees' opinion before approving a final decision. Meaning, before you make a decision as a manager, you ask the employees, how do you think about this? They will suggest, they will suggest. So even if you had the decision before, you will find they have suggested what you had. Then you say, oh, we go by that. And always they will say, yes, our manager is a good person because he allows us to participate in decision making. And that will motivate them to work harder and look for more information that will improve the organization. Number 5, coaching style. A leader who is a coach. A leader who coaches views people as a reservoir of talent to be developed. Like when you get employed to my organization and you are new, I have to coach you on how to do things. Because by coaching you, you will develop, you will know how to do it very well. After all, I want you to do it very well. So it is good that I develop you. Number 6, affiliative style. The affiliative leadership approach is one where the leader gets up close and personal with people. Affiliative, it means you are a leader who is close to the people. You are an affiliative leader. There is number 7, laissez-faire style. Laissez-faire is a French word meaning free for all. Yes, it means free for all. And this one comes when you are a manager and you are confident with your workers. You don't need to follow them. You know that they will do their work without being supervised. And at the end of the day, they come to report to you. Organizational leadership. We are saying organizational leadership deals with both human psychology as well as expert tactics. Organization leadership emphasizes on developing leadership skills and abilities that are relevant across the organization. So, tips for effective organizational leadership. Number one, a leader must lead himself first. Only then he can lead others. Well, if you are a man and you cannot lead your family, how do you become our leader? You can't. And also you have to lead yourself. Number two, a leader must boost up the morale of employees, motivate them, and energize them, encourage them. Number three, a leader must work as a team. Don't work alone. Work as a team with your employees. So we're saying organizational leadership involves all the processes and possible results that lead to development. Sorry, the power went off. That's why there was that hitch. So I'm saying that okay, thank you. I'm saying that I'm saying that organizational leadership involves all the processes and possible results that lead to development and achievement of the organizational goals. So it's very important for an organization to achieve its goals. Then there must be very good organizational leadership. So we have what we call leadership ethics, traits of an ethical leader. So we are saying ethics refer to the desirable and appropriate values and morals according to the organization. Okay, Lalo, I can see power is getting yes, okay. So I'm saying that ethics is very leadership ethics is very important because we are looking for ethical leaders. We don't want leaders who will mess up the organization. So we are saying ethical theories on leadership. Talk about two main things. Number one, the actions and behavior of leaders. B, the personality and character of leaders. So it is essential to note that ethics are an essential to leadership. We have some leaders are not ethical. So an effective and ethical leader has the following traits or characteristics. Number one, dignity and respectfulness, meaning he respects others. Number two, serving others. He serves others. In fact, our leaders are our servants. But after we have elected them, they behave as if we are their servants. We have elected them to serve us, so they are our servants. Justice. He is fair and just. Community building. He develops community. Honesty. He is loyal and honesty per se. So how to create a personal leadership brand? You can create your personal leadership brand. So every leader has a personal leadership brand, which might be carefully cultivated or intuitively perceived by leaders themselves. Yes. It is essential for a leader to practice his or her leadership brand in thoughts, insight, and actions. So a leadership brand helps distinguish leaders and also outlines their approach, values, beliefs, etc. How? Number one, the first step definitely is identifying and establishing the results one wants to achieve by the end of a specific time period, with a focus on preserving the interests of key stakeholders. The second becomes those distinguishing features with which one wants to be known as a leader. Yes. Third, the next step becomes defining your identity as a leader. Define your identity, meaning one might choose 2 or 3 word phrases to define their approach to leadership, like innovative to excel. I'm innovative to excel. Or I'm a no-nonsense leader. I'm a no-nonsense person. Listen, no-nonsense person. There are 3 words. No-nonsense person. I'm a no-nonsense person. Even some of you where you are working, some of you say, our manager is a no-nonsense person. So it is also important for leaders to check their leadership brand with seniors, subordinates, and other stakeholders to understand their expectations from the role. And if any disconnect is pointed out, it needs to be incorporated. So apart from the above aspects, leaders need to role model themselves and redefine their perceptions and ambitions to encompass the entire institution, the organization they represent. What are we saying? A leader needs to put the interests of the organization and stakeholders before his or her personal ambition and goals, and strive to create success which is sustainable and doesn't need their constant presence. So leaders need to understand that a personal leadership brand cannot be created overnight, meaning in a short time. No, but credibility is earned the hard way through years of perseverance. Yes. So once a leadership brand is created, its acceptance and stability is established only after results are achieved. So if a leader identified certain goals but fails to achieve them, there are no takers for that leadership brand. So we come to the end of leadership, and that is topic 8. That is topic 8. And therefore, I'm wishing you well, I'm wishing you success. Please revise my notes, and you will find this video in your Google class, and it will enhance your learning, plus the booklet and other slides that I have already sent you. Otherwise, thank you very much for having taken your time to come and attend to this lesson. Yes. Yes. Okay, thank you very much.